All right, new round of Bible questions, and it's April the 18th, and we've got a testimony here from Veronica. It's fairly long. I'll try to read through it, and here we go, Pastor Hovind. We get testimonies, quite a lot of them, but this one is from Veronica. Just wanted to send my testimony and a question. You have my permission to read this on YouTube. I first got introduced to YouTube in 2008. As I was going through some of the channels, I happened to come across someone's channel called Venom Fang X. Here was this young Jewish teenager at the time who got saved listening to Kent Hovind. He is a real soul winner, on fire for Jesus. You have to check him out. But he gave a link to Kent Hovind's seminars on YouTube. I sat and watched them all, and then I watched them all again with my 8-year-old son. I need to make this short, so I will not go into all the details, but let's just say my son is extremely strong-willed and will only believe or do something unless he is he will only believe or do something unless he is convinced. Of course, he likes to try to be funny too, and when he went to school, he used all the best jokes he heard Dr. Hovind say in the middle of science class. This in turn had the science class in an uproar, and he got sent down to the principal's office. Oh, how about that? He got sent down to the he got sent to the principal's office, who asked him, "So how do you know that? So how do you know the Bible is God's word?" Long story short, Kent Hovind prevented my son from going down the slippery slope of indoctrination to the government schools. Since then, I had to take him out of school and homeschool him because it's not the only evolution being taught, but also the immorality and witchcraft in the public schools. After watching the YouTube videos, I got so excited I was going to take my son to Dinosaur Adventureland. I found out that you were in prison, and I think even Miss Hovind was in prison too. I was devastated and have been praying for you to get out of prison ever since. I still have hopes of taking my now 15-year-old son to Dinosaur Adventureland. My question, it's really a teacher question since you taught science and math. He loves science principles and even scored well testing in science, but he has a horrible time at math. I'm using a decent curriculum and going through it slowly every day, but he's so strong-willed and he will not really apply himself unless he has a good reason. The other day he asked me, why do I need to know improper fractions, and who cares about algebra? How does any of this apply to his life? When is he really going to use it or need it? I told him he needs it for science, but he is not buying it. Do you have any good answers? Thank you so much for your time and answers. Lord willing, we will be down there in Florida during your next trial. We love you, Pastor Hovind, and Jesus. Sincerely, Veronica.
Interesting. Well, my dad taught us math as we built things or worked on our bicycles or cars or motorcycles or go-karts or whatever. If you want to say, okay, son, how fast will this go? If this motor turns over, 3,000 RPM, and the size of the gear coming on the end of the shaft is 2 1/4 inches, how can we convert this to calculate the speed in miles per hour, which of course is 100% algebra. And so he made it where we wanted to learn it by something practical we're doing. Okay, son, if we bore this piston out, 2 10,000ths over, what will that do to the volume of the cylinder times 8 cylinders, and what will our cubic inches be now? Well, you simply cannot figure those things without algebra. And so I taught a class, it was Trussell, Trussel, Trussell tutor tapes. This was back when I was in Longview, Texas. The guy, he paid me, this is back in 1983, 4, 5. He said, Kent, I'll pay you $25 an hour for you to come teach an empty classroom algebra, and I want to videotape it and sell the tapes. So I worked quite a while with Mr. Trussell and produced a whole series on teaching algebra from beginning to end using practical illustrations of why you need this and what for. I told my students at the start of math class, I said, no, kids, this is the way it works. The guy who sweeps the floor gets $7 an hour. The guy who poured the floor got $12 an hour. The guy who figured out the floor got $20 an hour and never got his hands dirty. You don't want to know math? Great. You can sweep the floor. You learn the math, you get $20 an hour. So algebra is absolutely essential for so many things, but you don't really see it unless you are doing construction or mechanical work, or you have to see the use for it. I understand what he's saying about when am I going to need this. Well, go rebuild your motorcycle and you'll quickly see why you need this. Your piston was, 1.72 inches, and now it's 1.34 or 1.84 inches. what's your new cubic inches, what's your new compression ratio. It becomes practical in 1,000 ways. If you have a dirt bike and want to put an expansion chamber, what angle should the muffler or the expansion chamber be at to allow the exhaust to expand? And what will your new, what's the new power band? At what RPM does it expand? And you gain the most power because of what they call an expansion chamber. So if you, or if you change tires on your bicycle, you got a 26-inch tire and you put a 28-inch on. Now, each pedal, each revolution of your foot pedal makes your speed be what? So there's all kinds of practical ways. One thing my dad did, he said, I want to arrange all the wrenches on the wall, metric and standard, in order according to size. So let's convert all of these into a decimal. 1/2 is 0.5. Well, what's 11 millimeter? What's 17 millimeter? Does the 9/16 wrench come before or after the 14 millimeter? And so we converted all of the wrenches into decimal and then hung them on the wall in order, mixed together. And it was just real practical. Hey, this bolt is worn out, this wrench is too big, which one fits? Well, let's try the next size down, whether it's metric or standard. So that was an interesting algebra thing of converting all of them into decimal. Yeah, I'm helping a young man here learn math. I tutor a lot of guys in math, and I try to make real practical illustrations. One thing I did, I tell the story of us, they were going to cut a tree down in Longview, Texas on the playground. And I told the guy, I said, the tree trimmer, I said, I think it's going to hit that fence over there. And he said, oh, I've been cutting trees for 30 years, it won't hit the fence. And I said, well, I believe it will, sir. Would you let me come out and measure that tree? Go cut the other 2 dead trees, and I'll bring my students out, and we'll measure the tree. Well, I brought my students out, each class all day long. We measured how tall that tree was 6 different ways, using a piece of paper, using a pencil, using a baseball, using 6 different ways, using algebra, using geometry, using trigonometry, using physics. The kids were amazed at how many different ways there are to measure how tall the tree was. And to make a long story short, we calculated it's going to hit the fence by about 4 feet. And we said, one of our guys here, one of our students here, his dad owns a fence company. Would you please let us call him? He'll take the fence down. You can drop the tree and he'll put the fence back up. And he said, I don't have time for that. I've been cutting trees for 30 years. It ain't going to hit that fence. Okay, so after school, the kids all begged their parents, oh, Mom, can we please stay? We want to watch him smash the fence. And so they hung around. Sure enough, it hit, smashed the fence, and the kids are all clapping and cheering. And the parents are thinking, what's wrong with you? The guy just broke our fence, you know. Well, Mom, we knew we learned some math today. We knew it was going to hit that fence. I also talked to the students. I said, okay, here's a chance to learn some simple proverbs, the wisdom here. Are there other options? Well, one is stand up on a picnic table and cut the tree up 5 feet off the ground.
Amen. Call is from the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office.
So they learn some practical ways. You know, how can we look at this problem? Can we find 10 possible solutions? One, of course, is take the fence down. 2 is don't even cut the tree. 3 is cut the tree up higher. But we ended up, just brainstorming. What can we do? Bring in a helicopter and lift the tree out of there, and all kinds of crazy stuff they came up with. But it was a fun experience for them, and they learned.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
They learned more math on accident than they ever would have learned on purpose. So I tried to always make my classes interesting, fun. You measure the tree with a baseball. They were just absolutely stunned. How can you measure how tall this tree is with a baseball? And we got it within 6 inches of the height of the tree using a baseball.
Wow.
They were just so. Bottom line is that I don't know about your son, but I know with my students, I always tried to make it practical. When am I going to need this? Well, right now, we're going to build something. Let's go fix it, So my dad was a genius at that, showing us the practical use of things. Okay, are there more? Should I call back, brother?
There are more. There are more indeed.
Okay, let me call right back.
Okay, thank you, Pastor Hovind. God bless.
Bye.
All right. Praise God for Pastor Hovind. Very, very good stuff. Man, this guy needs to be on the outside of prison. There's no reason whatsoever this man is sitting in a jail cell for 8+ years. It's just atrocious to even think about.